It literally took me almost 20 years to be able to say that out loud.
Hi, I'm Carole Podell, and this is She Takes the Lead.
Hi, party people. It's Carole. I hope you're having a lovely day or night, wherever you are. I am watching this show on Netflix right now, and it's broken into two parts. And Netflix, being the brilliant behemoth that they are, separated it into two parts and put a month in between it, I think, to build up momentum. So people really want to see the second half of the show, myself included. I'm like a huge fan. And in that process, the two leads of this show, relative unknowns, and that's air quote. I mean, they both had careers before this, but not like, anything that I think most people would know about. Some people, yes, but most people not so much. And one more famous than the other. But basically, in 1 month, they have blown up on social media and on TV. And I thought it was, and I've been watching this and watching them experience this. And there's 1,000 interviews, and I'm all there for it. And they are handling the interviews really well. But it's like there's so much content on it. I mean, Netflix is wow. There's so much content around these people and the show. And basically, they are promoting the show. It's the others in the show are promoting it, but they are really the prime ones promoting the show. And in 1 month, both of their celebrity has exploded. And I just was thinking, like, how that must feel. It must feel insane. It must feel, I mean, I'm sure it feels weird, but I don't know. It's like, you're a person like every other person. You do your laundry, you brush your teeth, you go buy food at the market, you cook, you hang out with your friends. And then suddenly, in a month, you are now recognized all over the world. Now, I'm not saying it's not like J-Lo level of fame, but like that you are recognized and that people are standing outside of wherever you are to get your autograph or see you or speak to you. It's just got to be weird because you're still the person that was doing your laundry or brushing your teeth or, going to the bathroom. Like it's not, you're still the same person. So imposter syndrome it's a psychological term. It was coined in the 70s, in the late 70s, by two psychologists named Pauline Roseclance and Suzanne Imes, or Eames. I don't know how to pronounce it. Imposter syndrome is the experience of feeling like you're a fake or a phony or a fraud, despite any actual success that you have achieved. And that it can be in anything, right? It can be in work, it can be in relationships, it can be in friendships, it can be in, overall performance. And apparently it's pretty common. In my mind, imposter syndrome is only associated with, like what I'm watching with these celebrities, right? Like their entire worlds have exploded. But the truth is that it's not just that imposter syndrome is it goes much deeper. And I think that far more people experience it. And that's sort of what I wanted to like break down because it also stops you from doing things, right? Like, so the inevitability of these, now famous people who have done something very public and now they are being seen in the public, like that makes sense as imposter syndrome. But that's not the only kind of imposter syndrome. So there are 5 types of imposter syndrome. Number 1, the perfectionist, that unless it's absolutely perfect, you could have done better and it wasn't good enough, right? And that comes out in various ways. So you've written 3/4 of a book and you never show it to anybody or try to publish it because it's not done, right? So the only person who that's affecting is you. You just talked yourself out of achieving, right? Number 2, the expert, which is, obviously somebody who is an expert on a topic, but the imposter syndrome of it is that you don't know everything. Like you're an expert on it, but you don't know everything. So you really can't say that you're an expert or move forward with your expertise, because if you don't know everything about the subject, you are not an expert. Number 3 is the natural genius. So if you don't think that you're naturally intelligent, naturally competent, naturally talented, that you can do it. So it stops you from trying to master whatever you're working on. Number 4, the soloist. So that's, those who cannot ask for help. And if they do ask for help, they feel like they no longer have ownership over whatever they've asked for help for. Like they couldn't do it on their own. So therefore it was not successful, and they're an imposter. Number 5 is the super person, where they must be the hardest worker, the highest achiever, and if they're not, they're a fraud. I relate to all of them in some way, you know. I am not a perfectionist in many, many things. And then in some other things over my life, I definitely have been a perfectionist. So I have absolutely, you sit in a meeting and you're supposed to know what the answers are, right? And you're nervous, you're having anxiety, which apparently this imposter syndrome, one of the psychological experiences that you have is massive anxiety, which then leads to depression. With the expert, it's like I could be sitting in a meeting and I'm supposed to know every single thing, and I should be saying and advocating for myself, saying, I know this, and then they ask a question and I can't answer it. And now I feel like I don't know everything. I feel like I've just failed. And so I'm not an expert in it. The natural genius, oh God, help me. I had an acting teacher who used to define people's talent. You have some talent. You have, like talent is a measurable effect. And like, I just don't buy that. For me, talent is what gets you up in the morning. Yes, you need to be good at it, but I think everybody, if you have an interest in something, you're generally going to have some talent in it. It may not be more than someone else, but it can be learned. So you just stop yourself, because if I'm not naturally talented at something, then I can't do it. So you either just don't bother because you don't have the natural quote unquote capability that you're probably seeing somebody else may have a natural capacity for, or you're not used to doing that kind of work and that level of pushing, because you think that the only way to achieve is by being naturally capable. The soloist, that's not something I have much anymore, but I definitely, when I was younger, if I was doing something and got help from somebody, I didn't think I owned it. The soloist, a little bit. When I was younger, I think I had that more. I think I'm much more comfortable asking for help and still feeling like I have ownership over it. Although, you deflect when somebody gives you a compliment. A lot of times you deflect it, or I do. And then the super person is like me up one side and down the other. Like I used to say, I still do actually. Like I say, I can out hard work anybody. And it's generally true. Like I am so stubborn and so focused when I get my head around something that it's like impossible to stop me. And the good side of that is that I really, really, really push and will make something happen. And the downside of that is that, first of all, it's completely debilitating. Second of all, if I didn't work hard enough, I don't feel ownership of it. And third of all, there's no middle point. There's no mid range where you can feel success and still be working on it, or you can feel success and not actually have to work that hard, which to me seems insane. But the truth is that, yeah, sometimes you don't have to work. Sometimes actually not working hard is how you achieve that thing. They all basically make you feel bad, like you're a fraud, like you don't really know, that you're not really who you think you are. And I want to break this down a little bit in terms of what we tell ourselves, because I think it's important when you're trying to do something, whether that's changing your career or trying to have a baby or trying to work through issues with your marriage. It can be completely debilitating in terms of your own way of thinking and your own way of moving forward in whatever achievement you try to do, whether that be your career, whether that be your relationship, whether that be your friendships, um, whether that be something you're trying to build or make. And I think that that is so common. We really more talk ourselves out of stuff. I certainly talk myself out of a lot of things. I feel like I'm getting better at it, and I work at it so hard because, like, I try to tell myself I would never talk to my friends the way I talk to myself. So that's kind of the barometer for me when I start feeling like I can't do something, or I'm not good enough to do this, or I'm not smart enough or talented enough or capable enough to be able to achieve, like I said, be an expert. So I'm not putting myself out into the world because I have imposter syndrome. And that kind of perspective just eats you up inside. It just stops you, it slows you down. Then you're suddenly putting your own impediment in front of what you're trying to achieve, or what you have achieved, really. You need to share your joy with the world. You need to share your expertise with the world. You need to share what you have with the world, because the truth is, if you weren't supposed to be sharing it with the world, you wouldn't have it. Like, why on earth would you have something that is so important for you to say, do, achieve, or want to accomplish, and not have it be something shared? You know, it's such a way of staying small in your own mind. And, I think that that is something that I certainly struggle with. I want a big life, to quote Mrs. Maisel. I want a big life, though. That's the truth. I want a big life. Um, it took me years to be able to say that. It took me years to be able to say that, because to me, like, who the hell am I to have a big life? Why should I have a big life? What makes me so special? And really, we're all special and none of us are special. And we all have gifts and things that we do that we're great at. And we all have things that we do that we suck at. And they're not often the thing that you want to be great at, and that's tricky. They're not often the thing that you so desire to be wonderful at. But generally, if it's something that I'm only mediocre at and I try it and I'm not that good at it, it doesn't necessarily feel that good. And I realize, that's not really what I'm looking to do. Again, that with careers, with trying to change careers, and you're like, no, this isn't what I wanted to do. And there are pieces of it that I'm not that good at, and it's not fun. And not because I can't work hard to get it, but because I don't want to. And I think that's also the piece. Like, there's one thing about not wanting to ever work hard, but there's another thing that is not wanting to work hard to achieve what you're wanting to achieve. Then the likelihood is that you don't really want it as bad as you need to want it. Ultimately, it's like rewiring your core beliefs. What are my core beliefs that I hold myself accountable to? And are they helping me or are they harming me? Do I believe that I am worthy of love, notoriety, financial success, financial freedom? Do I believe that I'm worthy of these things? The answer is yes. But am I telling myself that? I don't know. I have to think about that. I've been hearing people do affirmations a lot lately and talk about affirmations. And I think they're great. The more that I think about it, the more that I try to practice it, the more that I really think that it works. I mean, I saw this video. This woman was saying that she said, every single day, look in the mirror and say, "Hi, welcome. I love you. What can I do for you today that will make you happy?" Now, the first time I did that, I literally broke down in tears, like, full stop, completely a hot mess tears. And for me, that was the best reason to keep doing it. But it was painful. Like, it was painful for me to say that out loud. But that's what everybody should be doing. It's about other people. I mean, one of the solutions, I think, to um, imposter syndrome is also service. Like, if you're focused on service, that's a very, like, 12-step perspective as well. Like, if you're focused on serving, and I'm not talking about servitude, I'm talking about serving, whether that's serving an audience or serving your family or serving, um, people who need help, and putting your focus on the thing, taking it off yourself, then it actually helps you to move forward, and approval, and it helps you move forward so that you can think about something that's not yourself. Because, I think the worst thing that anybody can do, really, or the worst thing that I can definitely do, is just get overly self-obsessed. Like, I can't do this, I can't do that. I can only look at this way, or whatever. If it involves me and I'm the one stopping myself from doing it, and I'm the one that's having the whole conversation in my head about what I'm trying to accomplish, I'm in a vacuum, and no good can come of it. Because my wiring, for whatever reason, I'm sure it involves my childhood, I'm sure it involves my day-to-day life, I'm sure it involves some of my relationships. Those experiences do not allow me to encourage myself to do what I need to do without work, like separating your feelings from your facts. I love that. Like, feelings are not facts. Feelings are huge, but they're not facts. And they don't have to be facts. You don't have to make them facts. Also, like, just talking to yourself and talking about what you can do, like your actual abilities. I think comparing yourself to other people is dangerous, like if you're comparing somebody else's life to your life. What do they say? Like, don't put yourself in somebody else's shoes unless you really want to walk in their footsteps. And that means that, if you're comparing yourself, you need to compare everything, because that person has lived a life and lived experiences that have gotten them to that moment to be able to succeed at that thing. And you might not be at that place. It doesn't mean you're not an expert in the area. It doesn't mean you're not successful in that area. It just means you're not maybe as successful as somebody else. And the truth is, there's always somebody who's more successful or knows more. I mean, I guess until you get to like the Steve Jobs level, but even that, it's topical. And social media obviously is like such a bad one for that. We all do it. We all see it. And we all want to post what is good in our lives, not what is bad in our lives. Also, like, giving yourself the moment to appreciate what you have done. I remember I covered 9/11, with the Twin Towers going down, and it was debilitating emotionally, physically. We were all working so hard, and tragic, because we're in New York, worried about our family and friends, losing our family and friends, and scared of a terrorist attack. And in the department that I was at the time, which was graphics, you're actually building all the things that are showing up on the air, like all the images, all the data banks, all the narrative editorial pieces of information. That's what I was doing with a very large group of people, that we were all working together, and we won a Peabody Award for it. We won some other awards, but we won a Peabody, and that is the highest award you can really win in news. And I remember I didn't think it was anything, because I knew it was something, like I knew what a Peabody was, but I didn't really take any time to say, you know what, I contributed to this, because I wasn't the star of the show. I felt like it wasn't something that I could even talk about, because I felt like everybody was going to be like, who the hell is she? But the truth is that everybody who was in that experience really earned it. Like, we worked our ass off. Just because you're not Peter Jennings in that situation doesn't deny the reality that you have achieved something. Not acknowledging that is the worst thing that you can do, because the only, in this life is hard. Obstacles can be put in front of you all the time. So if you're not talking to yourself with kindness, with encouragement, who else is going to? And even if other people are, you won't believe it. I remember when my best friend was like, wait, you won a Peabody Award? And I was like, yeah, but I didn't really. She's like, no, you won a Peabody Award. It was a big deal. It literally took me almost 20 years to be able to say that out loud.
Hey Hey, thanks so much for listening. If you like what you heard, please hit subscribe. Also, if you want to keep in touch, go to Insta at About a Blonde or Facebook at About a Blonde Official. Also, you can sign up for my mailing list at www.aboutablonde.com. Have a great day. Mwah!